here's the thing with the Colosseum. Here's the thing with the Colosseum that I'm thinking. When I have the Colosseum, the things I like about the Colosseum, I actually don't mind this puzzle thing. I don't mind this idea of getting this puzzle, you know, having this puzzle building up. I kind of like this daily leaderboard, you know, so you can get more puzzle pieces, and especially now that they've made the leaderboard much smaller, so you have a chance to do it. So that side of it, I actually do like. I think that the leaderboard for the Colosseum, those kind of things, I think that is kind of like a cool way to sort of build up, getting more points for each one. My biggest issue with this event is this whole like method of basically who can spend more money to win your leaderboard. So right now, like, I'm in 3rd place, and I can play my matches, I can go through these things, and I have a pretty good leaderboard. Some people have terrible leaderboards. So there's like luck of your leaderboard, there's luck of the matches you play, and then there's just this like, okay, if I spend more money than the other, and so there's no satisfaction in it, because you play through this event, and if you're really trying to get top 3, you could do as great as you wanted. You could win every single match. You could do all of these things, and then at the end of the day, because the other person spent more money than you, you get nothing. And then I kind of feel bad as the person spending the money, because then you also take away from that person. So it encourages people to spend more money to try and get to a thing, because, oh, I've already spent this much money. But in the long run, I get that it's a great way to make money short term, but I don't think long term it actually has that same effect with it, because then you're like, well, I don't want to spend money on this next time, and then people don't play it next time. So I think some things that I would like to see with these kind of promos, one of it is this puzzle thing is all right. But maybe the daily leaderboard, maybe you can do the daily leaderboard as like a maximum of 10 wins or maximum of 20 wins or whatever, that everybody could play. So the daily leaderboard maybe does not have to do with, you know, who buys the most stamina, but who has the best record in the matches they play, kind of like the player of the month tournament. So then you could get the puzzle pieces that you could upgrade there, use the puzzle pieces to build up on there. And then maybe with the actual leaderboard, you know, you could do the same thing, like run that sort of player of the month tournament style thing that you have. Or maybe what you do is as you build up, you get different tokens. So maybe it's kind of similar to that prestige system we had before. You know, and I think that, you know, the global leaderboard, I don't really have a problem with this global leaderboard just being, here's some rewards for, you know, the people that want to do it. But I feel like for your individual leaderboard, it should almost just be like the more you build up from this promo, the more that you go through, maybe you get different tokens that you can buy players with. Because I think the biggest thing is that in this promo, the problem is that success in this promo is based on how much more you do than other people, which it doesn't really work, because then if someone else, you know, you could play this whole event. I remember last time the person who got second in my group, they got second in the group, they didn't get the reward because I was first or second in the world and they were third in the world. So just by getting in a bad group, you know, that made you, you know, do it. And all I really did to get more than that is I spent more money on stamina, I spent more money on players, these things, and I don't really think, A, I don't think it's fair, and B, I don't think it's really, like, you know, an effective system to keep people wanting to play your game. So, like, you know, I can see that it would make money on it for, like, you know, the short term, but I don't think it's a great way of doing that. So I would just say that that's one of my biggest things. The issue is this leaderboard system, and obviously, like, it worked out okay for me. I'm in 3rd place, but, you know, whenever I think about these things, I want to think about everybody that's playing the game, you know, new people to the game, those things, and I just think it's a pretty unengaging way for new players in the game to come in and be like, well, there's no way I'm going to get any rewards. So I think that there's some positives to how they do it. You know, it's cool to kind of level up and get the different players and the different rewards and stuff, but I just feel like, you know, the problem is that you're doing this thing where you're spending money to get more stamina, you're spending money to get more players, and then at the end of the day, you know, if the other person spent more money than you, they're going to get the player rather than skill, rather than, you know, these things. So I do think that there are positives with this tournament. It's not like the worst thing in the world. It's kind of fun to build. I do find it kind of fun to play a couple matches, get a new puzzle piece, see what that new puzzle piece is going to be. But maybe the puzzle piece isn't bonus points. Maybe the puzzle piece is different packs. That would be great. I don't know what you think about that. I think that would be awesome. What if these puzzle pieces were like, you know, each one of these, you played a few matches, and in the end, everybody could kind of get, you know, most of them or whatever, but each of these puzzle pieces was like a pack, or each of these puzzle pieces is like some player or something that you have, you know, through there. So not necessarily giving you an advantage in there, but you know, it gives you like a chance to get different players, or chances to get different, you know, maybe one of the players is the master player or something like that, and maybe even everybody can't complete it, but you know, you're doing something where you can kind of go through it, because you know, it's kind of a fun way to do the puzzles. Play a couple matches, get a puzzle piece, you get it if you win or lose, that doesn't matter, you know, and it doesn't necessarily like encourage that side of it. But the problem for me 100% with this promo is this leaderboard system, where basically whoever spends the most money gets the rewards, or whoever gets lucky into a leaderboard, you know, it gets the rewards. So there's too much luck based on the leaderboard. There's also too much you know, spend money to progress further. It has nothing to do with skill. It has nothing to do with any of these things, because really I could just spend a bunch of money on stamina, auto play some events, make 400 points, whatever, for my loss, and I could be in first place in my group. So I really do think that there's some positives of this promo, but there are things that they need to build on in terms of that side of it to really make this promo, you know, this idea of a promo feel engaging to everybody. Because if you can make, you know, your community grow, you can make money and stuff from that, right? You know, and so that's sort of my thoughts on this promo. I think that, you know, it's definitely not my favorite promo, but the reason why it is because it's just it's sad to me in a way that you know, like when I play, I'm taking it away from other people, right? Like I almost don't want to come top 3 in my group. You know, I want to get the rewards, but then at the same time, I don't want to come third, because then I know the fourth person who's done all of this work and all this stuff to come fourth isn't going to get the rewards either. So it's like, because you're, you know, taking away from other people for these things, that's a bit of my problem with this, right? So, you know, the matchmaking, obviously, the matchmaking wasn't great at the start. That was pretty frustrating. But the matchmaking, I feel like it has gotten a little bit better, and at least they're actually, like, you know, sharing some of these things. You know, on Twitter and stuff, but I just, that's the big thing for me, is it's like we're trying to, you know, it's not like I'd have one thing if I played a head-to-head match against someone and I beat them in a head-to-head match and I didn't really invest much more than a head-to-head match, then I don't feel, you know, as bad kind of beating them. But honestly, if I know that the other person could have invested like $100 or, you know, their whole weekend trying to do this, and I'm going to take away the reward that they want, that's not great, and that's not a great feeling for anybody, right? For the person who doesn't get it, for me who ends up taking that reward away from them. And that's my problem with this. If it was just like, okay, a tournament where you play 3 or 4 games, you don't get the rewards you want, you know, kind of like weekend tournament on FIFA console, the player of the month tournament. Okay, if you don't make it this month, well, you're gonna make it next month, and you're eventually gonna get it. But here, if you don't get what you want because you get the bad group, or you get the group that spends more money, you get nothing. And that to me is a little bit sad. Like, I feel like maybe you should give, you know, Colosseum tokens, and those Colosseum tokens, you know, allow to do it. And then once a month there's a Colosseum tournament, and then you could do it in the next time if you don't quite get there, you know, because I think the leaderboard's a cool system, you know, in terms of giving different rewards and stuff. But the problem is it's being utilized as this, like, you play well, you get the rewards, you spend more money, you get the rewards, and if you don't get the rewards, you don't really get anything. And so, yeah, they've added new rewards, you get more, but it's not, you know, you're not getting the things that you want, and you're not getting the things, even though you're investing all of this time, maybe you're winning all of your matches just because someone else did more, right? So that's my big thing with it. Yeah, the game takes skills, but this event doesn't take skills, because all you do to win this event is just spend money on stamina and spend these things, and then eventually you're at the top, right? Like, I think there's lots of opportunity for skills in this game. It's just not this right now, right? That's the big thing, is this tournament doesn't showcase those skills, right? Like, you know, if there's a head-to-head thing where you eliminate yourself to the top leaderboard, if you had a maximum number of 40 match something, that is skill-based, right? That's a skill-based thing, whereas this is like, you know, you're taking away from other people's, you know, things. Because I legit could just go and auto-play all these matches, spend a couple $100 on stamina, and I would be at the top of my group easily, you know, without winning a single match, without playing a single match. And that, to me, you know, yeah, it works out great for me because I can do it, but it, you know, I try when I give this feedback is not just to think about what is great for me, because what's great for me is, you know, is much different than what's great for most people in the community. And I know lots of people, you know, they maybe want to spend a little, or they don't want to spend anything on the game, you know, and so I think that there's, that's part of the thing with it, is thinking about this as a whole, thinking about players who are new to the game, you know, those kind of things. I just feel like there's so many different places where this, you know, you could have improvement in there. So that's kind of my thoughts on the Colosseum promo. I think there's some interesting things with it. I kind of like that daily leaderboard, giving you a chance to get some puzzle pieces each day. You know, the puzzle piece is kind of like a fun little thing to do. But again, the center of this issue is kind of like chemistry. The center of the issue of chemistry is not really chemistry itself. It's the fact that chemistry affects so much what you do in verse attack and how many chances you get in verse attack, that it's not really, you know, that it doesn't matter how you change chemistry, everybody's going to have an issue with it, because it affects how you play verse attack, and it affects those things as well. So I don't believe that chemistry is the issue. I think that the issue is that it has such an effect on verse attack, right? Like if everyone just played head-to-head, nobody would care as much about chemistry, because, you know, if it just affected how your players played in game, because you could still win without having good chemistry. You know what I mean? And then, yeah, like the group differentiation between, like look at that. I got 116 points and I lost. Right, I got 116 points not winning my match, which that's pretty intense, right? So that's kind of what, I don't know. Anyways, those are some of my thoughts on that. Just kind of, I wanted to share some of those things about the Colosseum. You know, talk about some of those different pieces of it, sort of play through those matches. You know, if you want to play this, if you haven't played this yet, basically you can go through, you fill out this puzzle, it gives you bonuses. You can see right now I have 1240. I got super lucky on some gold pieces early on. I did buy the doubler, which allowed me to do that, you know, but I don't know that I'd never necessarily invest in it. Just kind of do the best you can out of the tournament. But I think that's the biggest thing, is for me, the biggest downside is that you're directly basically like who can spend more money to win your group, which I don't really agree with. But the good side of it is I think that these kind of daily leaderboards, or that sort of player of the month system where you can, you know, you're just playing a max amount of games, even if you had that with the daily, like, okay, you're doing puzzle pieces, and maybe those puzzle pieces were the packs, maybe the rewards are the puzzle pieces, right? Maybe my group reward should be puzzle pieces, and at the end you get more puzzle pieces and more chances to get the players, or more packs that you can get, or something like that. That's not directly like, okay, I spent all this time or all this money grinding this thing and I got nothing, because long term that's not motivating. That's like, okay, I'm gonna do this once. Like Derby last time I played it, and then I didn't want to play the game for the next 3 months because of that issue, right? So I don't know. Those are my thoughts on it. Let me know what you think. What are your thoughts on this? What things do you think you can improve on it? Those things as well. Thank you for checking this out and stopping by. It's been a pleasure as always.